Alright, how does cheating in games allow you to understand how they're built? They basically help you in two ways. Number one, they help you understand the inner workings of a game, and number two, they let you understand how different aspects of a game end up creating different feelings and experiences in a player. The first one's relatively easy to explain. When you cheat, you are basically altering the memory of a game. You can do this via altering the memory actively through something like Cheat Engine, or you could do this via modding the game. But doing so gives you a certain degree of technical know-how. It gives you knowledge of variables, it gives you knowledge of models and physics. And usually if you have a certain baseline level of knowledge from cheating, it's just a step away from doing hacks and mods and eventually fan games and so on and so forth. Sure, not everyone who cheats does this, but it's a good place to start, and a lot of people who did become fledgling developers started here. And heck, the people who make, complex cheat tables for Cheat Engine, they have a lot of knowledge of how a game works. They're able to pick it apart from the inside and basically create their own programming routines to allow you to cheat in different and interesting ways. So that's the first part, the technical part. Now let's talk about the creative part. Cheating in games is kind of like accessing an extended options menu. You have the ability to alter any part of the game to your liking. And with that ability, you get to see the effect that that has on you as a player. So let's say you're playing a horror game, and you enable a cheat code that makes it so that you can never die. If the horror game is no longer scary, then you have learned, as a gamer, that part of that horror experience is created via the difficulty of the game. The fear of dying as a participant is what creates the horror. But what if the game is still scary, even if you have infinite lives and infinite health? Then it's not the mechanical difficulty that's creating the horror. Instead, it's something else, either the plot or the atmosphere or the music or graphical tension or something like that. By toggling that one thing, by toggling God mode, you've now learned something about how this game has generated fear and how the designers attempted to generate fear in the player. Say you're playing a collectathon platformer and you enable infinite jumps. If the game is still engaging, then you might want to look at the map design because perhaps the game was built with exploration in mind. If it's no longer engaging, then perhaps more attention was dealt to the physics and the general jumping mechanics to make it a game that's more based on challenge than exploration. Once again, you've toggled one thing, and you've learned a lot about what the developers were thinking when they were creating this game. Cheating is basically game design science. It's trial and error. You toggle some things, you see what happens, and you draw conclusions from it. And before you know it, you're learning more and more about the basic principles of design.